Hey gang, Daryl Davis coming here to talk about designing a life worth smiling about. I have an incredible human being here. I had to write down some of his accomplishments. Joe Sweeney is the creator of SMG, the sports marketing and management company. He's been on 28 boards over 30 years. This is, for those who don't know, this is a really hard list to get on. New York Times #1 bestseller list, along with USA Today. He's the author of Networking is a Contact Sport, and your newest book is
Moving the Needle.
Moving the Needle. So I've got Joe here, and he's going to share with us just a couple of ideas on how to have a life worth smiling about. Take it away, Joe.
Well, the first thing, Double D. Can I call you Double D? Is that okay?
You can. I've been called worse.
Okay. The first thing, if you want to keep smiling, start hanging around high energy people like you. So thanks for having me
Hey,
here.
thank you.
But I think that one of the key things about keeping us all in the right mindset and smiling, I think is really to have and start every day with a mindset of gratitude. And I think one of the key things that block us in life is we have this entitlement mentality in our country where we feel we're entitled, we deserve, and what's more, you owe me. If you see people in that mindset, a lot of them aren't smiling. They're usually angry and unhappy people. So if you have any listeners that are in that mindset, you start saying, how do I switch? How do I get out of that?
Yes, great.
You got to figure out how you go from a mindset of entitlement to gratitude. And if you're having a hard time doing that, just a simple thing, I'm not that smart, so I got to keep everything simple, is do it, what I call in my book, a 200-year rule.
Okay.
Go back 200 years. Think about this. If you're going to complain about going to a doctor, 200 years ago, I just read a book on the Civil War, the great surgeons were the ones who could saw the quickest without any anesthesia.
Ow.
Yeah. So if you go back 200 years
Yeah.
and you have to go get a cavity filled today, 200 years ago, they used to go Double D and rip your teeth out with no Novocaine.
Yeah.
Today we can go from New York to San Diego in 5 hours. We can go 40,000 miles in the air, 600 miles, and people are bitching and complaining because their Wi-Fi is not working. So 200 years ago,
sometimes.
200 years ago, it would take you and I a year to go from New York to California, and half our family would die.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you're having a hard time smiling, and I know that's what you're all about,
Yes, sir.
try the 200-year rule, and you'll be grateful for everything that comes through in your life. I've got to share one last story. In my book, I interviewed a guy by the name of Joe Demler.
Okay.
The name might not come to you, but everyone recognizes him because in 1945, when we won the war, they found Joe Demler in a Nazi POW camp. He was captured at the Battle of the Bulge. When they found him, he was 66 pounds, and he was on the cover of Life magazine. He was called the Skeleton Man. It's a very famous photo.
Okay.
You could get it.
What's his name again?
Joe Demler.
Joe
Demler.
All right.
And they have something now called the Honors Flight, and it takes World War II veterans from wherever they are to Washington. Joe Demler is the poster child for the Honors Flight.
Okay.
And the way he lived through Hitler's concentration camp is he woke up every day at 66 pounds and said, every day is a bonus.
Wow.
So if you're having a hard time smiling, having a hard time appreciating life, think of Joe Demler, who survived Nazi concentration camp at the verge of death, but he realized there was something to be grateful for every day.
Wow. Wow.
Great being with you.
Thank you so much. Joe Sweeney.